Hello everybody, Stuart Corbridge here, the Vice-Chancellor and Warden. I'm speaking to you now about respect. This is the week when the university publicly launches the report of the Durham Commission on Respect, Values and Behaviour. And the first thing that I want to say is please take a look at the website and download the report, see if it resonates with you, I'm sure it will do, and think across the summer, if you would do, what it might mean for you, particularly in conversation with your colleagues and peers. Beyond that, just let me make perhaps 5 main points. First of all, I'd like to say a very warm thank you to the independent chair of the Commission, which was set up at the end of 2018. I'm talking about Fiona Ellis and the Commissioners for all their hard work in producing this outstanding document. It's a document that will really help the university grow and become ever more respectful. I'd like to thank all the people that engaged with the work of the commissioners too, people that shared their experiences of working at the university and living in the communities within which we sit. A big thank you to everybody. Secondly, let me say that the report starts with a number of very positive behaviours across the university. We have a very strong values framework. I think everybody now knows the university's values to be challenging, enabling, innovative, responsible, which should perhaps be respectful, and inspiring. There's a strong behavioural framework now for the university leadership. It's written into our objectives. Those are being cascaded across the university. The salutations for the fact that we have student codes of conduct and pledges, that we have a student consultation framework. Student leaders are now on the edges of the executive, on provost board and operations board. The university has done wonderful work in recent years to become more inclusive too, which is coupled with the respectfulness agenda, whether it's through our access and participation plan, we are changing the student body, whether it's through recruitment of new members of staff and the probation that we provide and the mentoring that we provide, all the way through to work that students have been leading on decolonising curriculum. There's a lot here that's going on that suggests that we're moving in the right direction. A lot of very respectful, responsible behaviour. That's not the major point, though, of this report. This report holds a mirror up to us and says there are things that are happening here in Durham that are unacceptable, that do not speak to respectful or responsible behaviour, that do not allow people to flourish, that aren't kind, that close down people's opinions, close down a sense of self-worth that people are entitled to. A whole series of microaggressions, as well as disruptive behaviours on occasions, or even shouting at people in the workplace. And we can't have tolerance for these sorts of behaviours. We need, as a reflexive learning institution, which we are as a great university, we need to have the conversations with people when we see these behaviours. We need to call them out. We need to work with people, help people, and become a kinder, more affectionate, if you will, in the proper sense of the word affectionate, university. Some of these behaviours, as the report acknowledges, are widespread in society. Some are widespread in higher education. But none of that really matters because they're also here at Durham, which is what concerns us. And some of the behaviours that are called out are only within Durham. There are issues around inappropriate management styles that are referenced. There are issues around the relationship between professional services staff and academics, issues in colleges, issues in relationship between students and academics. We can do better, and that's the fundamental message of the report. And we have to do better, which I take to be its key implication. Fourthly, it's very important to recognise as well that whilst issues of racism and discrimination are picked up within this report of the Respect Commission, the Commission was formed in October 2018. This is not then an institutional response to the profound questions that have been raised by the Black Lives Matter social movement. The university is currently working through some of those issues in 2 linked roundtables with both students and with staff members of the university. And there'll be a number of announcements about that, a number of ways that we can improve, a number of initiatives that we will have around representation and resource that will come through into the community when we get back together in September. So these issues are addressed in part by the Respect Commission, but it has a broader remit in terms of different forms of respectful and disrespectful behaviours. Let me say finally, fifthly, that the report has been through the executive, it's been through Senate, and it's been through Council, mainly in Epiphany term of this year. And the 20 major recommendations of the Respect Commission report have all been endorsed by all 3 of those bodies. So those 20 recommendations that you can see, they will all be acted upon, they will all be resourced, they will all be put in place, and they will all be driven forward by a Respect Commission working group that will now be in place for 3 years and that will report back to the community on an annual basis so that we can track the changes that we're putting in place and the progress that we're going to make, because we will commit to this. Linked to that, because I've heard Fiona say this when she addressed the Executive and Senate and Council, the report is a starting point, it's not an end point. Please read it over the summer break or as soon as you can. But when we reassemble in September, we'll kick off with some Respect town halls for staff then, for students in October. And then I'd like this document to be discussed in every department, every division, every college and every institute, and I include the executive in this, of course, through the course of the next year as we examine our own behaviours and commit to constant improvement. So with that, let me say how proud I am that the university has produced this report. Again, how thankful I am to Fiona, to Simon Hackett and the commissioners for their work in taking us forward. And thank you all for taking the trouble now, as I know you will do, for engaging with the report of the Durham Commission on Respect, Values and Behaviour. Thank you all. Stay well, stay safe.